Hello everyone, welcome to the Two Whalleys. I'm Simon Whalley and the other Whalley is my dad, John. My dad's 85, I'm 45. My dad's living in Swansea in Wales. I'm living in Osaki Kamijima, an island in the Seto Sea in Japan. My dad reads the Daily Mirror, I read the Guardian. My dad's a massive meat eater, I'm a vegan. There's a lot of stuff we disagree on. There's a lot of stuff we agree on. Once a week, we get together on Zoom and we basically talk about all the world's problems and we have a good moan to each other. And sometimes it's quite funny. So we thought, why don't we record this and see if anyone else thinks it's funny too. Worst case scenario is we've got some nice memories that myself and my son can enjoy. So thanks for coming here. I hope you enjoy it and please let us know what you think in the comments and share on social media. Thanks very much. Enjoy the episode. How are you doing?
All right, and you?
Very good. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, about this submarine, is it the sea rescue operation?
Yeah.
Right. A huge air sea rescue operation by US and Canadian planes found debris near the submarine. However, I can but contrast the intention, multi-million effort to rescue wealthy marine tourists. Yet just lately, a migrant boat with just 700 underprivileged migrants, right? Well, why?
Yeah.
Well, there's no intention of military rescue for them, but for the ones, the thrill seekers who had millions, there was a 1.6 million pound rescue.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Sorry, Dad, I wasn't laughing about the news then. You might want to keep your camera, keep your eye on your face because you couldn't see yourself then.
Oh, right.
I read about that. It was saying like the Greek Coast Guard were accused of causing the migrant boat to capsize as well.
Yeah. But there was no international military rescue for 700. But it was for 5 people who were thrill seekers.
It's ridiculous.
And who pays? Who pays for that rescue? For them millionaires who lost their lives. Who pays for that rescue?
I looked at it and it said basically it's very rare that the American Coast Guard or Canadian Coast Guard, whoever it was, American, I think it was out of Boston. It's very rare that they will pay. That taxpayers will pay for it. It's very rare that they ask to be paid back. So basically, the American taxpayer will pay for it. Regardless of whether they're Americans or not,
Yeah, I mean, to me, the ones who should be paying for that is the one who launched the boat, who owns the boat, who does these trips. They should be paying for it.
Well, yeah, you'd think they'd have insurance, Dad, wouldn't you? Then the insurance would pay for it.
Well, no, I think the people had to sign that they could lose their lives.
Yeah.
When they went on this trip, they had to sign that they could lose their lives. That it's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you usually when you do that and you sign a waiver, though, Dad, you usually pay a little bit extra money to have insurance, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they've had life insurance, right? That will pay out.
Well, it shouldn't be the taxpayers. I mean, it's the people that launched the expedition. They should be the company that launched the expedition should be paying, shouldn't they?
Oh yeah, totally, Dad. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's the way though, isn't it? We'll get to it in a few stories. It's the same thing again, Dad. Every week we talk, it's the same. It's always the taxpayers that end up paying for it, right? Private companies milk all the profits and then they walk away and leave the taxpayers to clean up the mess, right?
Yeah.
It's a lovely system, capitalism. So, I mean, what do you think, Dad? I think 21,000 people have died in the Mediterranean crossing from Africa to Europe. in 9 years, Dad, right?
Mm.
21,000 people. So do you think people should be able to claim asylum in their home country? Because at the moment you have to go to the country where you want to claim asylum, but that's a deadly journey for people, right? So should they be able to claim asylum in their own countries?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a decent idea, that, doesn't it? I mean, you can still, of course, if the people are not in danger and they're not actually, if they don't qualify for asylum, then they'll be turned down anyway, right? But if they're genuine asylum seekers, then why force them to cross the Mediterranean? It's like some sort of Hunger Games experiment, isn't it? Who can get across?
Well, I don't agree with. There's one country where the asylum seekers come. They're just coming here for a better life. They're not. They're not. Their lives are not in danger. They've got their own house. They leave their own house and come out to work because the money's 10 times better.
Well, yeah, those are not asylum seekers, though, Dad. Those are like me, right? They're
No,
economic migrants.
they should be sent back straight away.
Well, yeah, I mean, I disagree because obviously that means I'd be sent back, right? So I have to disagree on that one, Dad. I'm an economic migrant, right? I've lived in 4 different countries and they've all been very friendly to me. And I want that for other people, right? Because I got it myself. I want other people to have what I had. So I can't go
Yes,
with you on that.
I mean, they can't. I mean, Great Britain, until they build these houses, these cheap houses for people, they can't even house their own people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about it last week. There's about 200. Am I right? Yeah, 250,000. That could be. There's more maybe of empty houses in the UK, Dad. It's a ridiculous amount. So yeah, I mean, they definitely need to build affordable housing for British people and for refugees, Dad, as well. I agree with you 100%, mate. But I'm all for economic migrants, Dad. If you live in a country and you can't earn a decent living to give your kids the kind of life that other people have got, I think it's normal that people would want to go and give that life to their kids, right? I don't think people, whether they're coming from Albania or from Ghana or Timbuktu, they feel the same about their kids as you do about yours and I do about mine, right?
Yeah, but preference should be for the people whose lives are at risk.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. I totally agree that they should be. Yeah, but the British government doesn't give a shit about either of them, Dad. So yeah, I think if I was in power and I could only give homes to certain people, I would definitely give them to people who qualified for asylum rather than people who were economic migrants. I would, but I would hope I'd be able to accommodate both, Dad. The British population, like most of Europe, is declining, right? Without immigration, there'd be no people to pay the pensions of people who are retiring. Same as Japan. So, migration's a good thing. We need it, Dad, right? But yeah. All right. I mean, did you ever read of the Rainforest one, Dad?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that ties in. You were talking a couple of weeks ago about seagrass, right? So what did you find out about the rainforest?
Well, the rainforest I mean, the size of Switzerland was cleared in 2022. The rainforest, the size of Switzerland, equivalent of 11 football pitches. The rainforest was destroyed every
11,
minute.
Yeah. I was going to say then, yeah, not 11 football, but yeah, 11 football pitches a minute, Dad.
It's insane,
right?
Yeah.
And
that's in Brazil. That's in Brazil.
That's everywhere. It's not just Brazil. I think that's in. Is it? No, I think that's in Brazil and Ghana.
But
Congo.
Despite promises by world leaders to halt destruction, humans have destroyed one of the most effective tools.
Yeah.
but
Same.
yeah,
Yeah, I know it's crazy, and they promised to halt destruction by 2030, the same as they promised to reduce emissions by half by 2030. Dad, that's the
yeah.
problem with these long off targets, Dad. Nobody gives a
Well, no,
shit because
yeah.
they're not going to be in
It's
power,
like
right?
it's the same as the government always do. The promises, but they never materialize. They.
Well, of course. I mean, imagine if you're in power, Dad. You're going to get 4 years or 8 years. So 8 years is 2022. Why not promise that in 8 years you're going to make blue yellow, right? Because you're going to be out of power then anyway. So you don't give a shit,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
problem
yeah.
with these targets like 2050. So okay, having that, but you've got to say, okay, 2050, in 2 years' time we're going to do this. 4 years' time we're going to do this. 6 years, 8 years. You can't just say, 30 years in the future we're going to achieve this, because then no one's going to do it, huh?
No, 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 no.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of depressing. So they need 130 billion dollars that every year to be able to protect these forests. So, question for you:
Yeah. To
should
give them
tax,
to give them work and that, you mean that the people work and that and money.
yeah, to protect them from, so that I mean, the reason they're cutting them down is so that they're in poor countries so that they can make money, right? So if
Yeah.
if rich countries give them money, they won't have to cut them down. That's the idea, right? So
Yeah.
taxpayers, of course, are going to have to pay for that, Dad. So do you think taxpayers in countries like Britain, Japan, America should have to pay poorer countries like Brazil, Congo, to Australia as well, actually, to save their trees for all of us, right?
Well, I think all the rich people should be paying for that.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, Dad. And if they were taxed at the right amount, which it used to be like 90%, then we wouldn't
Yeah.
have these problems, would we? But we've got a government that tells us that if we've got to reduce the taxes on the rich, otherwise they'll leave the country. It's like, well, let them leave the country, innit? Get them out, let them go and,
Well,
let them go
yeah, it's
down
like
to the Titanic.
yeah.
Okay. What was the other one that was interesting you sent to me was the PPE kits.
Oh yeah, no, it was next to the New Forest in Hampshire,
Yeah.
right? There's a mountain of dumped COVID PPE that helped a couple to rake in 1.6 billion of taxpayers' cash. They were later to be found unsafe due to incorrect storage. But was sold to the government by Sarah and Richard Stout. The Stouts have since spent 30 million on a Caribbean villa and a country mansion. They also own a £1 million yacht. Now,
Yeah, no. They
that's
spent 6 million on
ridiculous.
that mansion,
Yeah.
in Britain.
I mean, that's absolutely. They should get that money back off them because they've sold them. They've sold them PPA. That's no good.
I know, but what they're arguing, Dad, and it could be true, is that they delivered all of that PP in good condition, and then the British government stored it incorrectly, so that it was all damaged, right? So they're saying it's all down to the British government, and let's be honest, it might well be, Dad, isn't it? They're not exactly the brightest bunch, are they? This was when Boris Johnson was in charge, right? He probably had him in a toilet.
But on all these, when we have bad things like this happen, there's always people that make money out of the bad things, out of disasters.
Yeah. Disaster capitalism, Dad, isn't it?
Oh, it just makes me boil. Like they make money out of it,
Well, yeah. Well, look at the climate crisis, Dad. The same companies that have caused it are now trying to be profit from finding the solution to it, right? So it's in their benefit in this current system to cause problems so that then they can make money from causing the problems, and then they can be like, "Oh, hey, look, we've got the solution," and then they can make money from that as well, Dad. Right? It's
But
it's easy for them.
but then it's the taxpayers that pay again, because the taxpayers have paid for this, haven't they?
Oh, totally, yeah. And then they're gonna have to pay to get rid of it all as well, right? All that
That's
PPE.
right, yeah. And
Yeah.
people have made 1.6 billion. She should be paying for to get rid of it,
Well, and let's be honest. There's probably some kickbacks involved in that, Dad, as well, right? Some Tory politicians have
Oh
probably done
yeah,
quite nicely out of it as well.
Oh, of course they have. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. I think corruption has come into it, hasn't it?
Oh, everything, Dad. It's like we don't call it corruption, but if you give a donation to a political campaign, Dad, then that's corruption, right? You're paying them. You're not paying them for out of the goodness of your heart. You want something back, Dad, right?
Well, yeah, they pay them, and then they make them appear, don't they?
Well, yeah. There's that. I mean, they're doing that. They're doing other stuff, Dad. They're giving them. They'll be giving them. Depends on obviously the industry, but they'll be giving them something in return, right? It's usually a lot more than they get in donations as well.
Yeah.
Right. So that last one, this is a bit of an old one, Dad. It was from last week, but we never got round to it, and I thought it was quite important. So the drought in England. You couldn't read it, Dad, because you did have a read.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll ask you that question again. Give me the same answer you gave me, Dad. Right? Which city gets more rainfall, London or Sydney, Australia?
That gets more rainfall.
Yeah.
Sydney, Australia.
Right, but you said earlier it was London, and I would have thought it was London. Everyone would think it was London, right?
Oh yeah, you would. Yeah.
Totally, but it's actually yes. Sydney gets more rainfall than London. London gets roughly the same amount of rainfall as Lebanon and Kenya. So
yeah.
There's 18 million people living there, and basically they're running out of water, Dad.
Yeah.
So until now, people have thought that water problems are they're in Africa and South Asia and stuff, but half of the global population face severe water scarcity every day, Dad, right? But Britain's been told that they need to reduce water use by 480 million litres of water a day if they're not going to run out of water within a decade, Dad. So if Britain's not going to run out of water within the next 10 years, they've got to cut water usage by 480 million litres a day.
Yeah, well, they've got to stop this then. They've got to stop the leaks. I mean, for these water companies, there's 20 swimming pools a day, 200 swimming pools a day in leaks, equivalent in leaks.
200 or 20, Dad?
200 swimming pools a day.
Wow, yeah. And that's, again, that's down to...
it's the leakage. Yeah, leakage. I mean, something's got to be done about the leakage of the water for a start. I mean, people are complaining all the time at these water companies. Oh, what are you digging up the road for again? There's leaks all the time. They've got to sort the leaks out, haven't they?
Well, I mean, the reason they're not sorting those leaks out, Dad, is because, as we were talking about before, they've paid out, about £60 billion since privatisation to shareholders, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, investors swooped, but investors in the water companies swooped, bought up the supplies, loaded them with debt, then raked in bumper payouts. Main water companies in England paid dividends of 65 billion up to last year. So
you know
what I mean?
Insane.
So we've all
95% of the profits they've made since privatization have been given to shareholders, Dad, which it's of course they've got no money to pay for infrastructure if you're giving it all out to shareholders, right?
No, and with all this debt, it will probably go back to public ownership. That means the taxpayers have got to pay for it again.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, Dad. Imagine if you'd come up with this. It's a scam, right? This
Yeah.
neoliberalism that Thatcher and Reagan introduced in the 80s. It's beautiful, right? It's
Mhm.
just get the
Oh,
taxpayers to pay for everything.
yeah.
Companies will come in and make massive profits, and then
Where
the taxpayer will pay to clean everything up.
all them profits could go into the national health and the schools. The schools is being rotted, falling down and that like. They could all go into that like the money they're making on the on energy.
Mm,
That was privatized. The money, it could all go into the national health and schools and things like that. It's absolutely crazy. It's just the
mm.
shareholders that all the time are winning. Like they're getting the money, then the companies go bankrupt, and the taxpayers have to pay for it again. You know?
Yeah, I know, and I think a lot of people think that shareholders is just like your average mum, your average parents, dad, who've invested, a few £100, but it's not. This is like massive, massive companies, who've got pension funds and stuff like that. It's basically rich people, dad, that are getting all this money, right?
Well, a lot, yeah, because a lot of these water boards now are owned by foreign companies.
Mm-hmm. When
So
you think, you think about it, you're basically giving all the taxpayers' money to rich foreigners, right?
yeah, yeah,
Essentially, that's what's going on. It's theft, isn't it? In
and
another word, I think you'd call it theft.
and they couldn't care less about where that water, about the sewage and everything like that. They don't care where it goes in the sea, goes in the rivers. They couldn't care less.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's our rivers and it's our sea, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It is, and you don't expect them to care, Dad, do you? But you do
No,
expect the government to care, right?
that's right. Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you put your trust in them. You vote them in. You expect them to do what they're supposed to do, which is represent the best for the people, right?
Oh, it'd be a lot better. This world would be a lot better if Margaret Thatcher hadn't privatized all these companies. We
Mm.
were much better off when they were owned by the governments.
Yeah. No. I think most people they understand that now, Dad. But it's late in the
Yeah,
day, and as you said, it is going to cost a lot of money to put them back into public ownership again. But they're going to have to, Dad, because
yeah.
you can't. In 10 years' time, you can't have people dying of thirst in one of the richest countries in the world because, as you said, because of leaky pipes and stuff. But
No,
that's
that's
going to
right.
happen.
Yeah,
That's going to carry on, right? Because the government,
yeah,
these private
yeah.
companies are not incentivized to do anything, Dad, are they?
No, they've got to do these. They've got to, the infrastructure. They've got to do it all again, haven't they? You know, it's like
Hmm.
it's like what they did in remember now in oh, it was awful in London. That was years and years ago when it was all infected, wasn't it, London? But they had to do it all there, didn't they? With the water.
Okay, I don't know. How far are you going back, Dad? Like Victorian times, you?
That's right. When they well, when yeah,
Oh, you
well they
are.
had to
I was
yeah,
joking. I thought you are. You're going back that far.
yeah.
Right. You told, yeah, when they first made the sewage system and stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they
Hmm.
did it then. I mean, we've got to restructure it again, haven't we? You know.
Hmm. Yeah, no, and I mean it should never have been put into private hands. That
No, it
so.
shouldn't. No,
Couple of
no.
questions for
Because
you, Dad. Right?
when
Oh,
it's
go on.
put in private, when they put it in private hands, all they're worried about is making money, money, money. They're not caring about the environment or anything, are they?
No, and they can't, Dad, as well. They've got a duty to their shareholders, right, to maximise
Yeah,
returns.
yeah.
So if you do, whoever's the CEO, if he didn't do that, they just get a new CEO. They fire him and get a new CEO, Dad. So
Yeah, because they're
you
not
know,
happy. The shareholders are not. If they get 10% that one year, they want more the next year and more the next. They're not happy to having so much. They want more every year.
yeah, totally, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Dad? Other than like fixing pipes, we need to save 480 million liters of water a day. What do you think the best way to do that is?
Well, a lot of it for the homes. A lot of it is in the bathrooms.
Hmm.
They
So
could save 200 liters a day each household.
right, yeah, yeah. So what you think
And
people should take shorter showers, like?
yeah, and not put as much in the bath, and if you just say we, well, you don't have to flush the toilet, do you?
Well, actually, we don't, Dad. We only flush the toilet here if it's a sit down jobby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but most
So
people flush it when they've had a wee, like, So there's a lot of
yeah,
things in the bathroom that could save water.
yeah. I agree totally. Another one would be gardens, Dad. You know, everyone's watering the gardens all the time. Grass. It's like, do you really need grass? Why not have some, plants that don't
Yeah,
need so much water? You know.
I was hoping you wasn't going to say artificial grass because that doesn't do any good. The artificial
Oh
grass.
God, no! No, I can't stand that stuff. Dad, I can't stand it. Horrible stuff.
No. No.
So here's another way. I did a little bit of research here, Dad. How many cows do you think are in the UK right now? What's the cow population?
Cow population. Oh dear, a cow population. It's got to be in the millions, isn't it?
In the millions.
Uh, 10 million.
Oh, that's a hell of a guess, Dad. That is a hell of a guess. 9.6 million. You can tell
Oh,
you're a
that was a
meat
good
eater,
guess.
can you? You've been counting
That
them.
was good. That was a good guess.
So 9.6 million cows, Dad. And guess how many pigs there are?
5 million.
Jesus Christ. 5.2. Okay, no. Amazing, Dad. That's a hell of a guess. Wow. So cows use 960 million liters of water a day, Dad. Pigs use 156 million liters of water a day. Add that up, and it's 1,116 million liters. 1,116 million liters of water every day. Just cows and pigs, no chickens. So if people could cut the amount of meat that they were eating by a third, you could save all that water, Dad, without doing anything else, right? If people could just cut what they were eating, 2/3 off what they were eating,
and there would be less of the stuff going into the rivers as well.
Well, yeah, there'd be less pollution going into the rivers. There'd be less methane. There'd be less cruelty. There'd be more land in the UK that you could use to grow forests and do all that. It's a win-win, Dad. Would you eat 2/3 less, or no?
Yeah, well,
less.
I do.
A third less.
I don't eat a lot of meat now, Simon, but I do eat more than 2/3 less than what I used to eat.
Oh, you are then. You're already doing it, Dad.
Yeah,
you can flush the toilet after number one. No, but I mean, it gets down to it, Dad. All these governments, what they're talking about, they've got all this stuff. There's no policies for it, Dad. They're like, yeah, we want this, but then they don't do anything about it. So you can't just say we're going to do this. You need to enact policies to enable you to do it, right?
Yeah, and their promises, they've got to keep to the promises, what they say. I mean, anyone in government can promise. It's deliver it, isn't it?
Well, that's it. But that to be honest, that's down to the people, right? Because most people don't give a shit. They don't vote, and if they do vote, they just vote every 4 years, and then they forget about it and get back to watching TV every night. That you can't do that, Dad, because these politicians will do anything to get away with it.
Like Peter, he's disillusioned with the government, so he doesn't vote. But that's no good if you don't. You've got to vote, haven't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I totally understand how he feels. That I do. I mean, yeah, I'm disillusioned as well. But to say you're not going to vote, I mean, the Green Party for one are fantastic. Labour, if they do what they're saying they're going to do, I don't trust Keir Starmer, to be honest. But they're better than the Tories, Dad. You know. Why anybody would ever vote for the Tories after their record? I have no idea.
Oh no.
If you're working class,
I don't think they've got one hell of it. No chance of getting in, the Tories. I don't think. No. No.
I mean, I don't think they are, but I don't trust Keir Starmer to do what's necessary either. He's pretty much just Tory light, isn't he?
Hmm. Yeah, but it's either Labour or because they're not big enough. The other parties, are they?
No,
There
not in
was,
reality. No.
years ago, there was a chance of another one, and that was the Liberals, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah.
What was his name? The one who
Oh, I can't remember, Dad. Yeah, we were talking about that a few months ago, weren't we? I
yeah,
can't remember what his name was now, Dad. But yeah, you said he messed it up. You reckoned?
Oh yeah, he put that party back 40 years, like yeah. I
Well,
forget his
yeah.
name now.
So what do you say? Your advice to everyone, Dad, is to get out and vote. I suppose Labour then, huh?
Yeah. Well,
I
they've
mean,
got to
that's
vote. I mean, if you're dissatisfied with the Tories, it's no use saying, "Oh, I'm not not voting." They're all the same. You've got to vote against them, haven't you?
yeah. I agree with that, Dad. But I do get how people feel, how they're disillusioned, because if you're given a choice between voting for, oh God, I mean Margaret Thatcher or Theresa May, for an example, I mean it's not much of a choice, that is it? Why bother in it? And
Yeah,
obviously they're the
that's
same
right. Yeah,
party, I know, but it's
yeah.
that's what it is. If you're going to vote between Tony Blair or, oh God, who was up against him? Was it John Major? Was it? I don't know. In '97. No, it wasn't. Was it? But the
Well,
choice
when
is.
when when we vote for people like like Boris, he's the biggest liar in the country, isn't he?
Well, people are so used to reality TV shows now, Dad, that they love that, though, don't they? He's sliding,
Mm.
he's coming down on a zip line with a Union Jack, and they love all that. It's like you don't want that in a leader, do you? You
Oh,
want you want Jeremy Corbyn. You want the most boring person possible.
well,
You know.
you want someone who's not a liar.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
totally. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
You know.
Boris Johnson. I mean, no, how on earth? Oh, he should be
Well,
kicked out
all
of
he cared.
politics for good.
Yeah. I mean, they should just kick him out of the country, Dad. Probably. You know.
Yeah,
Not enough
yeah.
friends in Russia. He can go and live
Well, no, he's
happily
got a
over
good
there.
friend. He's got a good friend in Trump, hasn't he?
Hmm. You should
He
maybe
should go. He should go work for Trump.
well maybe see if either of them want to fancy taking a trip down to the Titanic.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God.
I
Right.
don't think.
Well.
I don't.
You know,
I don't think they've had sea rescue for them too.
no, I mean you wouldn't get two of them in there, would you?
No,
There wouldn't be enough ice cream and KFC down there. But yeah, good, Dad. Good talking to you as always, Dad. I'll get this together now and I'll send it on to you.
Okay, boy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching, and
Yeah.
peace out until next week.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Ta-da.
Ta-ra.